So most of you probably don't know that I am something of an indie dev. That's because I'm kind of not. Like, if you go to my itch.io page, the only thing probably there is a couple of asset packs, a really crappy ARG I made in base code 64, in development visual novel, and a actual game. Yeah, so back in early 2023, I was really down in the dumps. I believed that I didn't have the ability to finish any of the projects I partook in. So I joined a game jam called My First Game Jam Summer 2023. Perfect name, by the way. I really wanted to join this one because it was only 2 weeks long, and if I really messed up, no one would know of my failure. So I decided to make a little visual novel. Now, this isn't the first time I had ever made a visual novel. I had made a few back in high school as projects, but it had been 3 years since I touched development software. So on day one, I planned out my novel. The basic story I planned was a witch that goes out for milk, but is stopped by a bunch of wacky hijinks, and it would eventually escalate until she was met with the god of milk. Then I drew some really bad sketches, and that was it. The next day I got right into drawing my character assets. I went to Pinterest and found a bunch of references that fit the vibe I was going for. I was really going for drawing a very cozy type witch, which I think you can see very well in the final product. I think I started and finished drawing her all within the same day, and then I literally didn't do anything for the next 3 days. But when I finally got back into drawing, I made the Birdman and the little BB assets, and then once again, I didn't draw for 3 days. Yeah, that's 6 days have totaled up, almost an entire week. And I'd love to say this is just part of my chaotic productivity, but no. So at this point, I'm running out of time. I realize that I can't make all my assets by myself. They can't all be like Lazy Tunes originals. So I go to the itch.io store page to look at some asset packs. I used a song from this asset pack, and I go to look at background packs, and I just need to rant very quickly. itch.io is now full of these free asset packs filled with high quality art in large quantities, but are made by AI, but it's also not mentioned that they're made by AI. So I downloaded this pack, and I thought it was super pretty until I looked at it for more than 5 seconds. But by that part of my project, it was so last minute that I didn't really have time to change it. Long story short, if you have AI asset packs, just say they're AI asset packs. So as I start continuing working, I have very little time left, and it's time to really just put everything together and finish it off. The stage for me has majority of coding. I like to do a lot of my assets before I start coding. I just find it way more motivating to have the game look like a full game as I continue forward. But while coding this time, I came across a glitch. Usually the characters are assigned attributes like happy, sad, angry, and this will either change their facial expressions or sometimes it's a completely new character sprite. I somehow wrote everything in the wrong order repeatedly, and instead of going Grace is happy or sad, it thought sad was the character and Grace and Birdman were the emotions or the attributes assigned to it. So anytime I try to make 2 characters on the screen upset at the same time, it would think upset was the character, and I was trying to put 2 of him on the screen so it would remove his previous version of himself. I hope that makes sense. I'm only mentioning it because it took me forever to figure out that I've been typing things in backwards for the entirety of my development time. And instead sounded like a lunatic screaming, "Why does the Birdman keep disappearing?" Next, I started writing the endings for the game. I made my favorite sprite, which is the love interest. I made him in kind of the spirit of those bad art faces you see on DeviantArt. And the Milk God sprite I also made was obviously just an edited photo of a hand I found on Unsplash. On my last day for Mystical Milk Mayhem, I was drawing the ending screens. And they were bad. They were super bad. But at least they're kind of funny, and that was it. I submitted the game, everything went well. A day or 2 later, I realized I forgot to add sound effects. I mean, it was a bit of a disaster, but I did do 2 things. I finished a project, and I learned an absolute ton about visual novel development. A couple months later, I even started working on another visual novel that has a demo coming out really soon. If you'd like to play Mystical Milk Mayhem, or you just want to use some of the assets from the game in your own projects, the link is in the description. Please make sure to press all the shiny buttons below, and I will see you next time.